Who knows? It might be fun to look back at this stuff when we're like 80.
Well,
which
Zeus,
is getting a lot
That's only a
closer
few
for
years
us.
away.
Yeah.
Fuck you.
all right, what's going on, Zeus?
So yeah, we wanted to talk a little bit this week about mental health. I mean, honestly, it's not being called that a lot right now, but there's some serious like societal mental health problems right now. Plus, I have a little badge of honor this week from one of our
Oh,
LGBTQPRNLZ members.
ABC Group.
don't
Yeah,
make fun.
I'm not making fun. I'm very courteous to him. I just don't remember how many letters go with that. It's
I
gotten
don't
out of
either.
hand.
The
Just need to get
alphabet
it.
people.
New acronym. That's all I'm saying. People of change. How about that? I don't know. Whatever.
Did you get any hits in, or what happened?
Oh no! See, that's the funny thing in the mental health field.
I know you can't.
If
I know.
if I swing back, I'm a monster. And I honestly, and I get that, and that I wouldn't have.
Yeah, no, I'm just kidding.
But it is there are strange rules to things sometimes. There was a story when I worked I worked for a state mental health facility, and there was a story about this patient was choking this doctor to death, like arm bar right up against the wall, and the doctor bent forward and bit their arm until they let him go, and the doctor got fired.
Wow.
Serious. Wow.
Yeah, it's kind of I mean, for what it's worth, it makes sense because I'm signing. They're not signing on to be mentally incapable of reasonable thought. I am signing on knowing that there's always the chance that something like this could happen. So I do, to a certain
So
degree.
you're really the crazy one.
What's that?
So you're
Yes.
really the crazy one.
Sort of, yeah. You know, in a sense, I'm the one that's walking into the fire. You know,
Let me ask you, do you take a Hippocratic oath as a nurse, or is that just for doctors?
It's the same thing. It's called, we have like several rules, and one's called non-malfeasance, which is the same thing as do no harm. It just means, you know, you're not going to actively try and hurt somebody. If it happens by accident, then that's one thing. So yeah, I mean, essentially, it's the same thing. We're a lot of people tend to look at nurses versus doctors in a sense that like doctors are the bosses and nurses are the underlings, and in a sense that's sort of accurate, but it's far more of a parallel connection than not. Like I call a doctor and they don't say you do this, they say what should I do? What do you think? Should I give him this med? Should I give him that med?
Right.
What is your feeling on the situation? So I mean, nurses are really, even with this year where they're like you're heroes, blah blah blah. It's really understated what nurses do.
Dude, I don't know about you guys, but if you've ever spent any amount of time in a hospital, you never see a doctor. You see a doctor.
Yeah, you mostly interact with the nurse.
Yeah, you see a doctor for like 30 seconds a week.
Yeah.
The nurses are the ones that do everything.
Yeah, and you see the nurses on demand.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
yeah,
like,
no shit.
I mean, like, yeah, no kidding, right? I mean, like, if you need something or you have a question, like, you know, I've got the anemia, so I constantly need ice chips. Like, I will chew ice chips the entire time, and they would call me the Ice Man because I had to have them. I had to have them. And what's funny is my girlfriend Dana, who's I think is going to be on in a little bit, she's a nurse, and she saw me with the ice cubes. She's like, "You're anemic." And I said, "How would you possibly know that?" Because no one ever connected the two for me at all. I think nurses know your chart and your meds better than the doctor who walks in there and he looks at it real quick. And
yeah, a better way of looking at it is like officers versus enlisted men. Like, you know, they both have their expertise. An officer's not going to tell a sergeant how to dig a ditch. You know what I mean? he's going to say, get out there, have your men dig the ditches. I mean, again, it's like a general to the soldiers. There's parallels and there's superiority versus, or I don't know how you put it, but not underlings, but just people that work on a different plane.
So
Yeah,
that's taking
there's
a
a right, but there's a rank and file. Like his signature has to go. Like if I say I need more pain meds now, and I'm not supposed to get them for 90 minutes, they have to get him on the horn.
Right, but they're also going to ask me, do you think I should? Yada yada yada. They're going to be the expert.
Right.
And, yeah.
Right.
So what happens to a lady that swings on a nurse? Like,
well, I could press charges, but
I mean, but outside of that, but within the organization, what happens?
Michael.
You get somebody else there too. Who's that?
This is way too early for me. So these things have to be at like 10:30. Nobody's sleeping around here.
Well, who's the older kid?
That's my daughter.
She's waving.
Yeah, she's a handful.
Yeah, she seems cool.
Later, go.
God, I held her when
ice
she was a
cream.
baby. Jack,
Well,
I held Jack's
Sorry,
kid
go ahead.
when he was a baby, and he's in college now.
Yes, he is. Yes, he is. He's thinking about
Christ.
law school. God help him.
Yeah.
Well, hey, Zeus, I'm gonna send her an email if you want to get Dana in here.
Absolutely.
All right, let me do that. You guys talk amongst yourselves.
Okay.
Yeah, see how that goes.
So, Mike, we were wondering about going. When are we going to get out and go camping soon?
Oh,
Yeah,
camping.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
man. So that's an interesting question because we spent most of the day. Well, I mean, not me, but Audrey-Ann, like booking some stuff for this year based on like weekends that we have open. So a lot of stuff is full, man. Like people are already, like a lot of places we like to go are already booked up. I think there's a lot of pent up demand,
Especially the parks, yeah.
I've got a buddy who's got 40 acres or 45 acres out in Pennsylvania. If you guys like to meet out there.
That would be
Sweet,
We'd love
man.
for us to be able to meet.
Yeah.
That would be awesome.
Outside.
We could do a
I'll
podcast
talk
on
to
the
him. I'm
campfire,
sure he'd be
man.
good for it. And at the base of the mountain or whatever, he's got a trailer. I guess you can sleep like, it's like, if you want to double up, if you're all close, you can sleep in there, or we can just set up camp.
Where do I sign up?
What part of Pennsylvania, Darcy? Like near what?
It's near Carlisle.
Oh, okay.
Where's that?
I'm up.
Southern,
I'm totally
northern?
up for it.
What's up, Route 70? Is that 70?
I guess how
It
many
goes up
hours
that
is what I'm getting at. How many hours from here?
Oh, it's
Three to
about 2 hours.
2.5
Oh, that's not
hours.
bad.
Yeah.
What do you think, Jack? Would you be able to pull something like that off?
What's that?
Come down to Pennsylvania, we all meet and do one outside. And
Yeah, I'll
read
bring the
outdoors?
trailer, dude. I'll bring the camper.
Oh, you got a camper?
Hell yeah.
Fuck yeah, I'm in.
No, you can't be in the camper with him, you fucking louse.
Yeah, send me the dimensions of your camper. He can tell you whether or not you can get it up there.
It's like 10 by 12 feet. It's pretty
Yeah.
small.
Hey,
It's one of those
Okay.
tiny little A-frames.
It's like an A-frame pop-up.
I just said that.
Okay.
Hey,
Oh my
Zeus.
God. Okay.
Zeus.
I'm gonna have to
Zeus.
find
Yes,
a
sir.
picture now.
You should be popping up there, man.
I'm looking.
I sent her the invite link.
Why is your microphone off?
Because I have people creeping around me.
Creep is
Because I creep. Yeah.
yeah, creep is gonna creep, man. Minecraft.
Okay.
That's all I gotta say about that.
That's all I know about is the creep thing. Minecraft is infuriating to me.
Yeah, it's awful.
You've been playing it?
No, I've been watching it.
I
That's
bought
worse.
I went and got a subscription to a server that I
Wait a
set
minute,
up.
what-
So
That's
me
what
and my
Ollie
boy,
wants
we
to
can.
do. Is there any way
we
he
can
can get
play.
on your server?
Yeah, sure. Sure.
Okay, I'll let him know. He's been asking about getting on a server, and I've been like, that sounds boring. I just bought a 5 terabyte hard drive for my Xbox. It's so cool because I have like 120 games on it now.
Oh,
Yeah, I
you
got
are.
something like 120, 130 games
Oh,
on my
it's soft?
PS4.
It's great. You just tap right in, pick up any game. It's
Hey, Zeus.
Yes. There, I see her.
This is it.
Cool. Love you.
That was a nice transition.
Hello. Hello.
Hi.
Hello.
Hello.
I
Hi.
lost sound. Hello?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
I can hear you.
DeTrizio, is that Italian?
Oh, no, it's Irish.
Is that short for
Close
Out of
enough.
Jack's
Close
League?
Uh,
All right. Well, everybody, that's Dana. That's my love.
hi, everybody.
Hello.
I've been watching
Hello.
the podcast.
Welcome.
Oh, listening, mostly.
We heard Tom's your favorite.
You're all my favorite.
Didn't say that.
Tom's everybody's favorite. Tom's my favorite.
That's my favorite too.
I'm a big fan. I'm a big fan of Mike. That's
I
because we
Mike's
sound alike.
camper. I like Mike's camper.
Yeah.
Great.
You're such
We're
a
all
good
going to go
one.
camping in this up in Carlisle at Darcy's friend's place and do a podcast in there.
Dana, we're going to Pennsylvania.
It's bigger on the inside,
It's like the TARDIS, you know.
like the yes,
Right.
bigger on the inside.
Wait, Mike, you really own one of those?
Yes. Yeah, we were just talking about it, so I just brought it up.
You only paid like $4,000 for it, right?
Yeah, man, got a good price. Guy was selling. He took it. He was like, I only took it on one camping trip here in Silver Spring, Maryland. He's like, to Alaska and back. He drove it all the way to Alaska and back, and that was it. He was done with it.
That's a score. Good for you.
Bought it at a yard sale.
It's adorable.
Oh, wow.
Well, hey,
It's actually, but he is lying. It's actually smaller than it looks.
It is kind of small. But we lived in during COVID last year. We went I think we spent 6 nights in July at our house. Like we were Western Maryland, Eastern Shore,
Oh,
Virginia,
nice.
Pennsylvania. Like we just camped everywhere.
well, wait, hey, Dana,
Yeah.
you see Zeus's left hand?
Yeah, what happened?
Yeah, Zeus.
I was accosted by a male to
Patient?
female transgender patient.
Gotta stop.
But
Well,
this
you're
is
a high risk unit.
yeah. I'm on acute, so it's
Yeah.
like it's
You're at high
constant.
risk, so.
And
but,
I'm 6'2" and 220. So who's the guy that
Oh.
usually has to run to the fire?
wow, you must get knocked around a lot.
No, actually,
No?
I've been
Every day.
hit twice. One time was protecting one patient
Here
from
we
another.
go.
So you know that I don't count as like casualty of the job. If I was to stop a fight anywhere, I could probably get hurt. But this was the first time in 5 years that I've been actually attacked.
Okay.
Yeah. So those are good numbers. I mean,
Yeah, that's not bad considering the psych ward and the ER are the highest.
yeah, regular nursing gets hit on a regular basis. So for me to
Yeah.
not get hit but once being attacked in 5 years, it's pretty
Yeah,
good.
good.
Yeah, I'm good at talking them down from the ledge, explaining that
Oh yeah, Jack was telling me you're the whisperer.
I tend to say this is never going to work out the way you think it is. First of all, there's me, you know, I'm big, and then I'm the one that wants to not get you hurt. So if you get past me by hurting me, someone's really going to do a number on you. And I don't put it in so many words, but it's just, there's way more of us than there are of you, where nobody's trying to hurt you. Just go with the program.
That's
You know?
true.
It's
There are
just,
more of you.
it's just how it is. You gotta
Can
play
we
ball.
call you the nut whisperer?
I think that's a little insensitive.
In many ways, yes.
Yes.
I do whisper at the nuts. No, that's my thing. I've given like in 5 years, probably maybe 40 shots that I've actually made the call, which in 4 or 5 years, that's not a lot on it. I worked in a state hospital before this, and like where I'm
Oh,
at now, yeah, where I'm at now, you get schizophrenic, but you get schizophrenic that was insured and had some guidance throughout their illness. Whereas when you go state hospital, that's people without insurance and been living on the streets or shitty parenthoods, so like they've got no coping mechanisms. So again, I'm usually able to just figure out a way to make things
So,
cool. And
so wait a minute. Can we give Dana's credentials here since we're going to talk
Sure.
about psychology? Good, Dana. We gotta know who you are.
okay. So when I originally started out as an art therapist, and I could only get a job with Alzheimer's patients. I only worked with children, and I only wanted to work with children, and I was ahead of my time. There really wasn't a lot available in the ways of art therapy with children. The only jobs I could get was in Bellevue and in the city, and then this Alzheimer's. So while I was working with the Alzheimer's patients, I just decided that it was probably best if I just go to nursing school and become a pediatric nurse. And so that's what I did. And then I worked in Children's Hospital for about 9 years in the general peds floor, floating to PICU, which is the pediatric intensive care. I did mother-child float, NICU float. And I specialized in hematology and oncology, so I did a lot of the childhood cancers. And then from there, I moved on to work for the state of New Jersey for the Division of Child Protection and Permanency, and I worked with abuse and neglect and, babies born addicted and exposed. So I did that for like 5 years. They did some organization, reorganization of the program, and they did a major layoff, and I was a part of the layoff. And at that point, I just decided that, you know what, I'm going to try to go to school nursing at this point in my career. I had been 16 years in or so, and I had been dealing with a lot of heavy stuff, and I figured, why not? I'll try children and get into more preventative medicine and education. And so that's what I did. I went into school nursing. I really liked it. So I got my master's in education. I got my state certification in school nursing. I passed the national board, so I'm a nationally board certified school nurse. And I've been doing this. This is my 5th year. I'm in a public elementary school here in suburban New Jersey,
Isn't all of New Jersey suburban?
No, no. In fact, most of my career was in an inner city called Patterson, and yeah, it's not good. And that's another thing I wanted to get away from. I wanted to get away from the inner city and working in the inner city. I felt like my time had been served. And then for a little while, for about 3 years, I did the pediatric hospice program alongside school nursing. And when that became too much for me emotionally and psychologically, I decided that I should just stop doing that. And I did. About 3 years ago, I became a certified registered yoga teacher for adults and children. I began to incorporate yoga and mindfulness into my health office practices and teach children. I teach children yoga and mindfulness and I have my own LLC. So basically I would go to the homes of children who were like either medical or behavioral, private pay, and do one-on-one yoga and mindfulness therapies with them.
Define for everybody here, define what you mean by mindfulness.
Mindfulness is there's a few aspects of mindfulness. The one that I like to focus on the most is presence. So it's self-awareness, being aware of yourself, being in the moment, bringing yourself into the present moment, being aware of others, and being aware of your environment. And it's about focus, and it's really your ability. Focus isn't so much like zeroing in, but it's more
It's
like
more about preventing distraction.
knowing when you're not focused
Yeah.
and bringing yourself into
Yeah.
focus. Like learning that tool is more valuable than being able to focus for longer periods of time. So it's not a contest type of
Like an
thing.
internal white noise.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yes. That's a great way of putting it. I like that. I might use it.
No,
It
I've
is an
copyrighted it. You
internal-
cannot use it at this point.
I like it. You won't know. I'll do it behind your back.
But
Yes,
yeah, and
there's
you
like-
know, it sucks because everything you're talking about right now, they allocate for in hospitals, but I don't see it. I work on a psych unit where stuff like this should be constant. We got no music, we got no board games, we got no
Wow.
anything.
Well,
They have like a
it's not a
15.
healing environment.
What's that?
And it's not a healing environment.
This is a great hospital. Just nobody. It's this expense that nobody really wants to justify. Like Reiki, nobody uses Reiki, and
I'm a Reiki master.
Reiki is
That's another
proven
thing.
to have positive effects, but nobody uses
Absolutely.
it. Nobody uses it. It's all
Well,
private.
the hospital that I worked for actually certified nurses. I mean, I became a Reiki master through the hospital system that I worked for when I was doing pediatric hospice.
Mhm.
It's called Valley Healthcare. It's a private, well-endowed system. And, you know, they had funds for this stuff. So, you know, all the nurses that wanted to become Reiki masters, we did. And it was like a 12-month course. It was completely legit.
Okay.
And
Well,
doctors would
excuse me.
actually
What's
prescribe.
Reiki? Can you
I knew
describe
that was
can you
coming.
define that real quick?
Reiki is it's energy healing. So
Energy healing.
Reiki master is a conduit of
Yeah,
energy.
But what is it exactly? Like, how do you, what is it?
So we all have life force, energy, chi, prana. It's like the
Chakras,
inside
things
the
like
puppet,
that.
right? So like we're the meat, and our energy is what creates our life and our ability to heal, our body's ability to heal itself.
Okay.
So at the basic level, we are energy, and everything is energy. So it goes on the premise that there is a source energy, and the Reiki practitioner it's basically like you'll put your hands. So if you went for a session, the Reiki practitioner you'll lay down or sit down, and they will put their hands about that high above you. Some people will actually touch the body, and you allow energy to flow through you as a conduit into where it's needed. And it acts upon the chakras in the body, which they're like portals in our
Like
energy.
every 7 inches, right? Something like that.
Well, there's thousands of them, but for some reason, the mainstream focuses on 7, sometimes 11. So they're at the crown, the third eye, the throat, the heart, the diaphragm, the belly, and then the root would be like, you know, where your sacral is.
This
So
sounds really transcendental. They do this in the hospital that you
Yes.
work in?
Well,
Wow.
you know, here's and coming
That's
more from a
surprising.
psych aspect.
Well, it's like acupuncture, right? That's very Eastern.
Sort of.
acupuncture uses pins and cups and scrapes, like with coins and spoons and stones.
Yeah.
That's a whole different.
But isn't
know,
it like isn't it an embrace of like the idea of energy
Yeah.
having to go through your body?
Acupuncture is a Chinese medicine that's based on the Chinese meridians, and
Reiki's Japanese, right?
and it's legit. Like if you prick, you know, like a nerve here, it's going to travel to your liver or
Right,
whatever.
but where does Reiki come from?
So Reiki is Japanese.
Yeah.
Okay, right. That's what I'm saying. They're both Eastern medicine kind of.
Yeah, this is a complete melding of East meets West, alongside yoga and the whole concept of mindfulness.
Right.
And
Yeah,
it's an
that's
integrative approach.
Yeah, the cupping is pretty cool too.
The
But
cupping is
chi,
pretty cool.
I mean, the chi and the power, that's not scientifically proven, is it?
Well,
No.
Actually, you can read up on it. There is some evidence on that. there's a journal called CAM,
I'm not
Complementary.
saying there's no value in it.
Medicine.
You know, I'm sure there's value in it, and if it
Here's the
helps people,
thing:
that's
even
good.
if it was all nonsense, you know what most people can attach themselves to is the power of positive thinking. Like,
Right.
and if
Placebo
all
Laughter,
this is if
yeah.
all this is some great Jedi mind trick that we're going through right now, where we're saying, "Hey, man, I'm gonna hold my hands over your chakra. I'm gonna pull out some energy, push it out into the universe," and you believe it, doesn't fucking matter.
Right.
It's still doing what it needed to do.
Right.
I
I agree
mean,
with that.
you could get it. We could get into concepts like if I don't know I have cancer, do I have cancer? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Until you start to create it in your mind, who knows what's there? I mean,
Well,
that's getting a little metaphysical, but
Well, the concept too of energy medicine is that disease begins outside of the body.
mhm.
So it begins in the auric body, and with anxiety and worry and maybe even negativity that you're carrying in your energy, which is related to your thoughts, and you embody this entire vibe of dis-ease, and then you invite disease into the body, and layer by layer it makes its way into your cells, so energetically. And so the whole idea of energy medicine is to keep the aura clean so that disease doesn't creep into the physical body, into the cells.
And I think some people, and this is gonna sound like a me centric thing, but I get vibes like off people all the time. It's one of the reasons why I'm definitely, if we're gonna get into like your mutant power, I'm definitely an empath. Like I can walk up to just about any patient, ask them a few questions, and usually by 10 minutes in, I've got what I need to tell them. I mean, all my therapists they're always constantly sending me emails. Hey, like what you did with this, da da da. Da. And I didn't get any classical training for this. I mean, I'm a deliberate speaker. I stop, I pause, I think about what I'm gonna say, and 9 times out of 10, I don't say something that's gonna upset them. Every once in a while, I might just not be tolerant, or I'm not feeling it that day. But most of the time, even this patient, for me, a natural course of thought. This patient that hit me came up. They paint, and they're a really good artist, and they brought me their version of Starry Night by Van Gogh, and I took it, and this is like in the morning, and never apologize. But I'm not expecting that. Every single mental patient is on one level or another an example of arrested development. So for me, yeah, I could get mad, and I see why other people get mad. I can get that. I can get why Mike would get mad, or Jack would get mad, or Darcy would get mad that they got hit by this person. I get it. But I get them for some reason on a different level. Nobody wakes up wanting to be bad. Nobody's born bad. You may be born broken, but that doesn't mean you can't be fixed.
It's like when your 3-year-old hits you,
Yeah,
I was
you
about
hit
to
him
say, have
back.
you met
Teach
my
him
son?
right there. Good
Mhm.
smack in the mouth.
Yeah, I mean,
but
a
like,
lot of it is meeting people on their level. So, people experience time differently. I mean, if you know anyone that's ever gone through any kind of trauma, they'll say like if they're not sleeping, an hour is more than an hour to them, right? So it's like their experience, things slow down for
like
them.
the DMV.
I'm sorry?
Like the DMV.
Like the DMV, right? So, I mean, people experience things in different paces, and part of being mindful is kind of, and I think Zeus is, I mean, just knowing him as a friend, he's good at kind of meeting people at their speed, like at their level, and when people say they want to be present, or being present is important, like with another person, it's kind of like meeting them on their time frame. It's, if you go to visit someone who's in a nursing home and they're like 95 years old, and their experience, the time is going by differently for them versus someone who is busy, a commuter hopping the A train downtown. I mean, they're experiencing time in their 5 minutes isn't the other person's 5 minutes. It's relative.
I'm just kind of bucking against age. I don't give a fuck. I'm not getting old now. That's fine. You
Well,
can
it's
get
more,
old if you want to.
but
That's your
even more
problem.
than age, I'm just saying people experience, and it took me a long time to learn that, but people experience time differently, you know?
Yeah,
And I think that's when people say, being present with someone else is kind of meeting people on their time,
Right.
how they're experiencing things.
well,
Part
that's
of the mindfulness program is connection with self, connection with others, connection with the environment. So it addresses that connection with the other, even in a dyad or in like a small group, which that's part of like what I'm teaching little humans, their little toolbox moving forward. And it's important because going back just a little bit to the empathy piece, I think a lot of nurses or helping professions, they're empaths. They're naturally empathetic. They can get the vibe. They feel the vibe. They know when, but they've also been trained to be non-judgmental. They're trained to recognize that this is not the person, this is the disease or the condition. So they separate that and they're able to render care, like seriously well care, the way they would care for their mother. They'll care for the mass murderer. You can't put judgment in the way of your care as a nurse or a doctor or someone that's, in that capacity. But I guess that was just what I wanted to say to you, Zeus, about the empathy. I'm not surprised that you identify as someone who's empathetic and having success with connection with the people in your unit. I think it's part of nursing.
it's crazy though, because I'm not to be contentious with you, but I think there's a hell of a lot of nurses out there that are not empaths at all. That are just there for the paycheck.
Oh, there are. No doubt about it.
Like I'm the least
They need
experienced.
to hang it up.
What's that?
They
Exactly.
need to hang it up.
Yeah,
I am.
There's this one nurse and she's brilliant. She knows everything about meds and all that other stuff. And I'm constantly just at awe at the awful things she'll say. Like with the political world we're living in, she'll be like, "Those people need to die." I'm like, "You're a fucking nurse. How do you even talk about death like as cavalierly as that?"
Right.
It's
have that feeling.
And
right.
she'll okay, borderlines. You familiar with borderlines?
Yeah.
Okay. Does everybody know what a borderline patient is?
No.
Okay. Jack is a borderline patient, guys. No. No, borderline is everybody familiar with spinning plates? Back
I do it every day.
Kids, you guys would spin the plates and they run over and spin
every day.
Borderlines do that too. They come up and they'll go, "Can you get me a snack?" And you go get them a snack. And then when you come back with the snack, they go, "Oh, can I get some juice with that?" From where you just went to get the snack. And they'll do this all day. And they say that the source of it comes from abandonment, right? Oh, why did I nail it? I was just joking, but hey.
I know, no. I would ask for everything at once.
Yeah. Well, and what I don't get is I'm like 4 years into this, and these other nurses around me, they'll just keep going back and forth and back and forth. And I'm very unorthodox. I'll be like, I'll look at the patient, I'll go, "You're kidding me, right?" I'll be like, "You must be joking, because no." And I'll tell them, "Here's what you're going to do. You're going to write me a list of everything you want now. And then you can come back in 4 hours and ask for other stuff. But in between now and then, I'm going to get you everything you want. And if you're not bleeding, don't come to me."
Wait a minute.
And everybody on the unit does it now. But it shows them that you're listening. It shows them that you're trying to take care of their needs, but it also sets limits, because a big part of psych. Yeah, and if you don't, they will run you ragged. And I'm not allowing them to continue with the bad behavior that they can control, because they're never going to make it. They're never going to be able to spend an extensive amount of time outside in the world if they can't go to the supermarket and have somebody say, "No, I can't do that," and not flip out. You know what I mean? So it really comes from a place of altruism. I don't want, when I'm being the bad guy. It's to make sure that they can survive.
What the?
But
Sorry.
Dana, so I mean, you have empathy, but how don't you have to like keep yourself from getting attached, especially to like the kids in the children's hospital? Because I've
Yeah,
been to like the children's inn and just seeing those kids, I don't know how the nurses can work there and see these kids like all day
yeah.
long. It would just break my heart.
And long-termers like the hospice care and, with hematology and oncology, you do develop a relationship with not only the child, but like the whole family.
Mm-hmm.
And so, knowing this, going into the relationship, that there's a beginning, a middle, and an end. And
Right.
you start the end of relationship with them from the beginning. So it's called like discharge planning or whatnot, as you know.
Okay.
So you always keep the end in mind. And I'm not saying it always works. I've had a few upsets, especially in the pediatric hospice world, where I became a part of that family. I was coming to the house, once or twice a week for, a couple hours on end. And
So a stalker.
Yeah, that's her. That's
She's
her.
jumping on my lap and
Just
kissing
standing
me.
outside the
loving me.
window with a knife.
But isn't that being
tough.
human? Isn't that being human? I mean, any job, any profession has a system, has rules, right? But we're human, and humanity does other things, like causes you to bend rules, and that's, I think that's fine. I think because we're human beings, we're not robots.
Yeah,
Well,
but
it was home care. The children were dying at home.
Yeah.
I didn't going to their house
Yeah.
because in the hospital.
But
But
see,
Yeah, no, I understand. Yeah.
and there's the thing, Dana, I think you'll there's so many, like, nursing is such a multifaceted job. Like, see, you guys think, okay, hospice, they go home, they're taking care of them at home. But when we're doing it, we're thinking of different aspects that I shouldn't say the common person, but the layman who's not a nurse won't think of. We're thinking this gives them an opportunity to have their dignity, to die with their family. Like, there's these whole other trails you go down, different branches that you're going on with this. It's always multifaceted. And like with Dana doing hospice, the families are caring, nurturing, they're bringing them in, they're going to her with a place that is focused on what do they call it? Starts with a P, palliative care.
palliative,
And
that's right.
whereas with mine, 9 times out of 10, there's a lot of caring parents, but a lot of times with the patients that I deal with, the parents are part of the problem. Like, I have literally had parents drop off their patients, and I wanted to grab another room for the mom because she's like, whatever, screaming at this poor kid that just tried to kill themselves. So
Right.
it goes so
But
far.
I mean, nursing, I think it's in medical profession, it's accentuated. But when you're a professional and you're dealing with someone who is experiencing something for the first time, and they have a steep learning curve. I mean, a parent who's dealing with a child who's dying from cancer, they haven't necessarily dealt with that before. And you may have dealt with it, unfortunately, a dozen times.
50 times, yeah.
Right.
Or more. So, trying to keep the focus on the child, also let those parents, have room to experience what they're experiencing, and kind of you're sort of like a Sherpa, right? Aren't you, in that
Well,
experience to an
you just
extent?
learn how to hold space for people instead of like taking up the space
Yes.
or constantly being the educator. Like right now is not the time to learn about meds. Like
Right.
your kid's dying. Now's the time to just be in silence, or hold their hand, or play a game, or if they want to eat like a big ass thing of cotton candy and they shouldn't, let them have the cotton candy.
Let 'em
Like
have
Fuck it.
it's a whole different approach in palliative and hospice. Yes.
And like, for me, what's heartbreaking to me in this world that we're living in, this litigious society and this cancel culture, and everybody is damned for the littlest things. I'll have a patient and I've gotten to know them over like 3 months, which is not common in acute, on a hospital setting for psych, because it's usually get them treated and then, or get
They
them.
really hold them for 3 months there?
Sometimes, yeah, we sometimes it happens, and we'll get them level, but we just get them level, and then we outside is where they get the rest of the care. But it sucks. Like there's this patient I have right now, and she left today, and I want to give her a hug and say, be good and stay the fuck out of here, because you can, and you can't do that in this world.
Wow. Yeah, it's
You
not your.
can't.
That's
You
not your.
can't be
Yeah.
caring. Nurses really. I mean, I'll firmly to the day I die. I wish I would have started this 20 years earlier. I wish I'd been doing this longer, because
I think
I'm.
it depends on the context, Zeus, because I've hugged lots of people for
Oh,
long.
no! Don't get me wrong. I didn't say I gave a shit. I still
No,
do
no,
it when I
I
can.
get that you can't do that in that capacity, but nurses, it depends where you are in nursing and what, like what's acceptable, what's not
Right.
in the moment.
Well, now everything's unacceptable. You can't just say. You should every once in a while actually be able to tell a patient, quit being a shithead, go to your room and chill out. Because some of them are capable of hearing that.
Right.
Most of them are capable. And you know what? Actually, a lot of them appreciate when you talk to them like you talk to the nurse that's right next to you. Shut up and quit acting like a child. It shows you validate them. That's my whole thing with my patients is
'Cause
validate,
otherwise you're
validate,
just
validate.
enabling them a lot of times, right?
Hmm?
Because otherwise you'd just be enabling them a lot of times
Well,
with their idiosyncrasies.
yeah, again, yeah, everything's textbook, and at least for my type of nursing, it's so you can't be textbook because there's so many X factors, and there's stuff we don't even know about. The DSM, for what it's worth, is a very small book for what's going on in the human mind. You know what I mean? And it really just comes down to like 5 different things. You never hear anything beyond I'll digress slightly. Like I was talking to Darcy about it earlier, and I think I've talked to you about this before, Mike. When I look at a transgender patient, I think that yes, sometimes people are born wanting or naturally should have had an extra part or been missing a part, but I think a lot of it's also just an extension of body dysmorphic disorder. Are you familiar with
Well,
that?
I was telling Jack this. We had this conversation. I know it has nothing to do with really like a lot of what's happening, like as far as parents influencing like
That drives
gender
me
stuff
crazy.
in general. But I was surprised when I was a new nurse working in, the regular nursery, getting floated with the babies being born. And even in pediatrics, I was surprised at the percentage of ambiguous genitalia. I thought that was like a rare thing. Turns out that it's not as rare as I thought.
What, like Klinefelters or?
Like you look at the genitals and you don't know.
That sounds like mostly poor boys.
It could be a girl or a boy. What they'll do is they'll do a DNA. They'll do ultrasounds of the pelvis to see if there's like
Something caught up.
Is that
in there or
is that related to children being born preterm, or is it
no, not
across the board?
necessarily.
Well,
Okay.
I know.
No, I'm just
Not
curious.
necessarily.
There's one condition called Klinefelter's disorder. And it's where you're born with both. They usually.
Well, it's probably a syndrome.
Yeah, it's a syndrome, I think. It always goes to girl because the penis is useless. It's just that they were born with both. It's kind of like if you're born with an extra thumb.
Well,
except it's a genitalia.
There's a lot of different syndromes that might present as an ambiguous genitalia.
Mm-hmm.
So the initial diagnosis is ambiguous genitalia. And imagine being those parents that just birthed an ambiguous little human. And now you don't know why. You don't know if it's Klinefelter or if it's this or if it's that. So
brutal, I'm sure.
It's a lot for the family. It's a lot they take on, and it's every situation tends to have its own unique quality to it because the ambiguous genitalia looks different all the time. Like some of them just you can't tell. Like you like.
But, Dana, you talking about just in young children, or is does it
Talking
appear like all the way through
So
adulthood?
I've only seen it on like newborns, and I've seen it on like young children. And the trend now is to not do surgery. They used to surgically assign this was predating my almost 20-year career, but they used to do like reassignments, like right there and then, like make it a girl, make it a boy.
Could you just let them grow through, puberty and adolescence, and then wouldn't it develop one way or
their
the
own.
other?
With the DNA evidence and them, narrowing down that it is a female or a male, or in this other syndrome that Zeus is talking about, it's both, which is probably really intense, because then what do you do?
They assign. I think they assign female almost.
Has
immediately.
this changed over time, or do you think, like in the 1940s, was this occurring at the same rate?
I'm not too sure about the occurrence rates, but I would imagine that it's not that different. I think that it's something that was always kept on the hush.
That's what I was going to say. I don't think we will ever know. We'll never know.
So now it's like when I became a nurse and I saw that it wasn't as rare as, like I might have came across like 1 or 2 a year, and I thought that was a lot. And I was like,
considering that this. But you do live in New Jersey. There's a lot of funk in the water there.
Yeah, there used to be.
But yeah, no, I mean, we'll never know on that, because back then they'd be like, kill the freak, kill the freak. It's a different world that we live in.
You'd also have parents. You'd also have parents.
Sorry, Jack, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, you'd also have parents who would be like,
yeah. No, that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And even like predating, like, I guess, even that, like going way back, people would also interpret this as like some kind of like, devil or evil, or some type of like, punishment.
Like a lefty.
Lefty. Yeah. Well, it's interesting. I mean, I've had one child, so I don't have a ton of experience, but talking to my father, I was born in 1972, and when my child was born in 2015, I was in the room, I was like all involved, I was like totally whatever, and I asked him about it. He was like, absolutely not. Not only was I never asked, I had no interest. No, your mother never asked me. It wasn't even a father being in the delivery room, and this is just 1972, right?
Yeah, I thought that was weird.
And we've already gotten this far, and I was like, nothing would have kept me away, and like my wife would have been pissed if I wasn't in there. And I'm like, in this short amount of time, how much things can change, right? Like so fast.
I was there for all 4.
Darcy, you were going to say something?
Yeah. So my ex, Allison, she told me that when she was born, her dad was out playing golf.
Yeah.
And I was just like, what? I mean, it was like, when your mind is going through, like, it's doing that rapid fire thing, like that just doesn't make any sense.
Right.
And
I think my dad,
really?
when I was born, my dad was doing blow off a hooker's back.
See, it's
it may have been the breast. I'm not sure which, but
no, that's when you were conceived.
It was definitely a hooker.
That was when you were conceived.
Yeah, that was when you were conceived. No, Zeus. Hey, Zeus, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree.
Okay.
But here's the thing.
What are you in agriculture?
The point for
I don't get it.
Yes, agriculture.
I don't do blows or hookers. Wait.
But here's the thing. So
I know you a long time.
Not okay.
No, I'm just audience. I'm fucking with him.
Okay,
so
good.
Here's let me bring my little side point home. The thing is, my dad is a very sensitive, cerebral, like intelligent dude. I think even in 1972, I think if the doctor had been like, hey, Paul, are you interested in, do you want to come in here? He probably would have been like, okay, right? So it wasn't the individual, right? It's not the individual making these choices. The system, how everything was set up, was kind of making these decisions for people. And just like for me, it wasn't like, I want to be in the room when my daughter's delivered. It was like when the very first time we met the doctor, they were like, hey, when you're in here, like they were all like open arms and welcome. It would have been odd if I was like, I don't want to be there. Right.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's necessarily the people that are changing. It's the system. It's the,
society.
the assumptions, society. That's what changes. I think people in general want to kind of just stay in the lines, right? They want to stay in the lane. It's the rare person that's like, I know this is convention, but I want to go do this thing over here. That's unusual. Most people don't do that, right?
So,
It's like the biggest deal ever. Like,
it's the biggest deal. I was like, there's no way I'm not going to be here. This is the best thing that's ever happened to me. Like, there's no way I'm not going to be there.
To cut the
And the whole
umbilical
time
cord.
I didn't even
When
know
did
what I
that
was
start?
looking at. I was like, is that an oyster? I mean, it was just, I was like, what am I looking at? Is that the baby?
what are you laughing at, Dana? You can't see it from your point of view.
I just
we
saw
have to
it
look
on
at
my
it.
face.
yeah, I saw it all. It was something.
My boy had green hair. He had green hair.
So when my firstborn was born, my wife was like, it's writhing in pain. Her cervix became swollen because she was pushing. Like the whole thing is they tell you don't push until we tell you to push, because it'll cause the cervix to swell, which can lead to a C-section. So this was pre me being a nurse. And it just shows how much you learn in the program and doing it for a while. So I had to call my mom, who was a nurse, and my mom was like, get the epidural, shut up, do it. And boom, she did it like that. So come to my 4-year-old, I'm more involved in this one. Like the first one, I didn't cut the cord. I didn't want to go down there and look at what it was doing to my wife, there.
The alien.
And so the second time, I'm like way more involved. I'm like tokometer. I like know all the words, and I'm veal chop. You know what I'm talking about with veal chop, right? Of course.
No.
Right, Dana? I'm
just
saying
keep
Dana.
rolling. Just don't ask questions.
Yeah,
Just
go.
Veal
Go.
chop is this
Keep
thing
proving.
where you.
No one cares.
I don't want to
Okay.
know.
So
I don't want to know.
I knew
Keep it
so much
going.
more about it, but my wife is again going to fight getting the epidural. And this time around, I didn't even call the wife. I was just like, look, you don't have to, because we had a fight about it. She was like, I'm not doing it. You can't make me. You better not let them. Da, 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 da.
What is wrong with these women?
She's
I
just
didn't-
stubborn. And I go, that pain you're feeling right now, you got about 30 minutes to decide if you're going to get an epidural, and then you're going to have to deal with it for however long it takes to have the baby, or get the epidural now. Like 4 minutes later, put a needle in my back.
Yeah.
And it was like a 30-minute delivery.
No, what I love about the birthing process is, one, it's not you, the guy.
Yeah.
That's one.
Definite plus.
And then also it's like the gear shift of life. Like once you get married, the parents and the friends drop a gear and the wife goes up.
Yeah.
And then once you have that kid, the totem pole switches again. And then it's just the kid. And the wife is just left there writhing on the table. And it's just the kid. And then eventually the wife gets closer to the kid, but it's never the same. It's and for her too. Once she gets that baby up here, the husband is like background noise.
Oh man, if you're lucky to be there.
You're lucky. Yeah, she doesn't even know you're there.
But isn't it awesome to see? It's beautiful.
The whole displacement of the paternal standing in the house. No, it's awful to see.
But no, the shifting gears that Jack was talking about. So years ago when my parents retired and they ended up moving to Florida and the whole stereotypical thing, My sister who lives up in Boston, she was really upset that my parents moved to Florida. I live in Maryland, and I was like, I'm really just happy that they're happy. And I thought back, my sister was born in 68. My parents got married in 66, and I left the house in 1990. So it's like 22 years that they're dealing with kids. Like by the time they retired, I'm like, these are two people that are in their early 20s, right? They get married, they have a baby, they have 2 years together in their marriage, they have a baby, and then all these years go by where they're not a couple, they're like, raising a family. They finally get us out of the house. It's like, more power to them, man. They're like a couple again, right? Like all these years later. It's awesome.
Did they have an RV?
They did not have an RV. No, they did not have an RV.
Merry Christmas, Mom and Dad.
But they're super happy now, man. They look healthier. They're happy. They're way more happy. Well, they're way more happy than they were when my sister and I were living with them. I can tell you that right now.
Dana, old man Jack.
Old man Jack's gonna be a happy old man.
Yes.
I just want to make it the old. I'm not convinced it's gonna be happy.
Yeah, I'm not one of these people that are like eschewing like getting older. Once you're dead, we're dead for a long time, right?
Yes, I'll take
or we're not, or we come back as a shrimp.
Yeah,
Michael, touching on something that you mentioned earlier about the collective growth opposed to the individual growth, I think that's phenomenal. And I think that those things are happening at a much more rapid pace now, more now than ever, just like we were talking about time, right? So this is just my opinion and my thoughts. It doesn't mean it's a fact, but I feel like we're living in a time of great change, like so much so, and that's why it's chaotic. That's why it's so polarized. That's why it's so disrupted, because things have to fall apart before they come together, and this is just a part of that process, and it's going to lead to higher collective thoughts, and even people as individuals educating themselves, learning more. It's just been so rapid. There's so much shifting. It's just a lot. We're living in a very, very interesting time. To think that even when I was born, my father was waiting for me to be born at the corner box.
In a train yard.
Yeah. Yeah, where did that train noise come from?
Oh, I'm sorry. I gotta mute it.
Are you on the PATH train coming?
I live on a train track.
Yeah, Dana lives on the other side of the tracks, literally.
It's my white noise in the back.
That reminds me. So I got to bring a movie reference in here. There's this old Peter Sellers movie, one of his earliest movies. It's hard to find now. It's called The Smallest Show on Earth. And he plays a drunken movie projectionist, which is a role near and dear to my heart as a former drunken projectionist. And he works in this theater called the Bijou, and it's set up early in the movie that it's like right under the rail line in New York, like the elevated train, right? So it's set up early in the movie that this train goes by like every 10 minutes and just shakes everything in the theater. And so they get over that bit, but throughout the entire movie, like there's whole other ththings going on, and like all of a sudden you're like, and like things start shaking. Like they just keep it going through the whole movie, and all the characters like ignore it because they're used to it. But anyway, I love Peter Sellers.
I like
love
it.
movies.
I gotta look it up.
It's hard to find. I tried finding it on Netflix and Hulu, but it's not available. It's called The Smallest Show on Earth.
Okay, I'll check it out.
Dana was saying though, we've talked about this, all of us at one point or maybe on the podcast, but I never looked at it from your perspective, and I really like that perspective of it's chaos, it seems like the world's coming to an end, but this is actually like the birth It's
This is
like
the growth
it's literally like the
people need
chaos
to
of birth.
listen.
Like out of this is going to
The
come
labor
something good.
team. Yep.
But I have another theory on it too, is that we got information coming in way too much. There's just way too much for our tiny little fucking unevolved, just out of being monkey brains to take
Right.
in. And like, I mean, it's like everything.
Bandwidth.
You're not just watching TV. You're watching TV. You're seeing the Hunumalabab advertisement on the side. You're seeing a ticker on the bottom. And
Yeah.
then you got something over here, and then you got the guy in the middle. That's the main source of volume, but you're taking in all this other information. You don't even realize you're doing it. Like subliminally, you have to.
Scroll.
Well, that's why, like, if you look at,
But at least
Hold
we
it.
control that,
Who's
Jack.
watching cable? That's cable. Who watches
Yeah,
cable?
that's true.
yeah, who has
I'm on
cable?
demand.
But
I'm
I mean,
on demand.
but I think I think it's why mental health is out of control now, and I think it's because there's no working for shit. This is something we've gone over before, but you don't work for anything anymore. You want to know about whatever, how to build a paper airplane. You don't try it 6 times until you get something that works, and then master that and make it a little different. You go online and you figure out how to make this paper airplane that'll go 150 yards.
You go right to the answer.
Yeah,
right?
to beyond the answer, beyond what you were
Yeah.
even looking for. You go into like,
Well,
it's like going back in time and having your cell phone and it has all its functions that it does now. You would be a magician just by saying, I know how to get there. It'll
you
take
would be
us
the
13
ruler
days
of
walking.
the world. You would be
What?
amazing.
Yeah,
You would-
you could solve many problems
Well,
just by
oh,
what you
well,
could get out of this.
Didn't they do that? Go ahead, Dan.
Because they don't know what boredom is anymore, especially like the young child
Well, you
who's
can't deal with boredom at all.
they don't know what it is to truly be bored and how to handle that sitting.
absolutely.
Lots of
Going to
masturbating.
yoga, going back to meditation. A lot of people don't know how to sit and just pay attention to their
And
breathing.
Well, okay,
And
well,
just
Dana, that's only gonna make the work of the Reiki master and the yoga instructor and anybody who preaches Zen and energy healing, it's gonna make your work almost impossible.
I think it actually makes it more necessary.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah.
But it also involves like awareness. So, I mean,
But
we've
they're going to
talked
come out
about
with a Reiki machine with
there's
paddles.
no
and you
machine.
just-
There's no Reiki
Yeah.
machine.
No, it's gonna be it's gonna
right.
be an app.
It'll be like a
It's gonna be an
TENS
app.
unit.
I'm gonna
I
go
mean,
like
we-
this, then I'm gonna go like this, then I'm gonna go like that, and I'm just gonna do it.
I mean, we've talked about like media, you know, how media has changed. But if you look back at like the 50s, right? And you know, TV was new, but if you opened a magazine, or if you happen to own a TV and you saw a car ad, it was like, this is a 1958, you know, Chevy Bel Air sedan. It's got this size engine, it's got 4 doors. Like, it was all about like, hey man, this car is great. Now it's like you look at a car ad, it's like, if you buy this car, you're gonna get laid. Like, you know what I mean? It's like everything has nothing to do with the car.
This
Like,
car's good enough
it's
to get
all-
head in.
It's all this like whole other thing. I mean, we are getting,
back.
we have people who are going to school and becoming ninja masters at advertising that is tapping into things in your brain you're not even aware of, right? They're like appealing to things that as a consumer, you don't even know about. You know, you
Well-
don't even know how you're being manipulated. It's not just
Well-
like, you're not being convinced, you're being manipulated, which is a
Right.
whole different.
I think
Whole
they've
different thing.
always tried to do that though, Mike. And
They-
now
Yeah,
now they've got more data.
exactly. Right. But, and I'm not saying that it's bad. I'm not saying that they shouldn't do
No,
it.
it's
But
not
the thing
good.
that's missing is the awareness. I think people are naive and they don't understand the power of it, because as human beings, we like to feel that we're in control of ourselves and that, you know, oh, that's not going to have an effect on us. And like I
Right.
say, in every podcast, Coca-Cola, who is the largest beverage seller in the world and one of the largest advertisers in the world, they buy advertisement because it works. That's why they do it. The repetition works, the
Yeah.
ads work,
Coke
the way
Zero.
they present it. and we need to
love Coke
acknowledge
Zero.
that we are animals. You know, this stuff works
There's
on us.
even subliminal, like in the Coke can, that's that white stripe down the side.
That's supposed to be a woman's body.
Right. It's like the
Ah,
curve of a woman's
I didn't even
body.
know that.
So you're attracted to
I thought
it.
that was just my own secret thing.
That's a weird thing because hips, that curvature. Like I love that. I love that.
Remember
different
back in
shapes
like
and
the
stuff.
80s, they
Yeah,
had
we
like
all do, Darcy.
there was
No,
like
I'm not a big fan of hips.
back in the 80s, there was some Pepsi thing where like if you stacked like the 12 packs of Pepsi in the grocery store in a certain way, like they made
Yeah.
like some crazy picture. Do you guys remember hearing about that? Like
Yeah.
I'm just
they-
saying, we as individual human beings are ripe, right, for these companies and very smart people who are creating imagery and messaging that they are spending all of their time on to get us to control what we're thinking, and we just enter it like, oh, it's just a commercial. It's not just a commercial. They're trying to manipulate you, right? They're trying to manipulate you. And again, I'm not saying it's bad, but most people just aren't even aware of that.
You're talking about the
Well, they
Illuminati,
use
aren't you?
subliminal. They go subliminal. So, and they've been doing the subliminal thing in advertising.
Forever.
Yeah.
My
So,
favorite.
yeah.
How do we,
Well, Jack,
Dana-
this weekend, I like that they profile me because I have to see advertisements anyway, right? So of course I want to see things that I want.
Right.
and not-
Why do I don't want to see like spinach ads, right? I don't have any interest in spinach.
Spinach is good
Fuck
for you.
spinach, man. I don't
Fuck.
That is just for
actually
losers.
I like spinach. I
Popeye.
do like spinach.
Hey, Zeus, there's our next t-shirt. Fuck spinach.
Fuck spinach, man.
oh,
Fuck.
Have a picture of Mike with the RV behind him.
Fuck spinach.
No,
his
Popeye.
license, his license plate is just FKSPNCH.
Yeah, we gotta make a hashtag out.
Like
of it. Hashtag fuck spinach.
Fuck spinach, man.
I think,
And I love spinach. I do. I love spinach.
Oh, bullshit. You're lying.
I do. I eat it
You're
every day. I
waffling.
eat spinach all the
You're
time.
fucking waffling.
Do you warm it up before you fuck it?
Spinach is for losers.
usually.
Stick to your guns. Popeye was an asshole.
Well, hey, Zeus, I don't know if anybody cares, but we've been on this call with Dana for like over an hour. So I don't know if you want to like close her out, let her let her do what she's got to do. And then we'll have her back for like the supernatural shit.
Interesting you
No.
said that. I was actually going to ask if you could leave and Dana could stay.
Yeah, if can Dana stay and Jack leave? Is that okay? Because I'm done with Jack.
Because no offense, she's a hell of a lot better looking than you. You're number
are
one,
you
too.
feeling the chi? Zeus?
All right.
So this was
Jack's
great.
trying to send you some
I'll read
energy.
everybody's tarot card.
So what's so
We
what's
gotta
with
do
the
that.
charity,
We gotta
charity
do
work
that.
here, Dana?
What
How
was
did you
that?
get burdened with him?
Oh,
Right.
Jack.
Oh, hey, Jack.
Oh, fuck you.
There
I
he is.
heard you. Assholes. Assholes, Dana.
Funny and handsome assholes, though.
Yes, I love you guys, dude. You're very wonderful to me.
Thank you for joining us, Dana. Appreciate
Thank you
it.
so much for having me. Next time I'll read everybody's tarot.
Definitely.
All right.
There we go.
All
Anytime
right.
you want to come on.
Good night, Dana.
Good
I'll
night.
talk to you
Take care,
soon.
sweetie.
Thanks for
Good night.
coming on.
All
Bye,
right.
Dan. Hey,
She
good
is so
job.
out of
tonight.
your league, it's ridiculous, dude.
Oh,
I think
fuck
this was-
off. Fuck off.
Hey, I didn't say what they're there, but I have the feeling that part will get cut out.
Don't cut anything. Just let it go.
Yeah,
Come on.
let it go. It's fine. I can take it. Damn it.
Speaking of Let It Go, have you watched Frozen yet, Jack?
No, I'm waiting to watch. I want to watch it with Tom.
I've seen it like a million
Nestled,
times.
nestled in his bosom.
Yeah, I've watched Frozen
you
like
not see my daughter
Frozen
that-
2 like a bunch of times.
Yeah,
No,
Frozen
I-
2 is like fantastic. man.
Wait, I thought Tom wanted to do a watch along
I want you
podcast.
to watch it,
Hmm.
and
Oh.
I want to see your reaction to Frozen.
Well, we could do that as a watch along. We could have the Jack watches Frozen special.
So Frozen. Here's the thing. So
You watch me.
Frozen
You
one.
watch me cry.
Look, if you're
Because now
into,
there's a little ice crystal.
if you're into the Disney movies, Frozen
No.
1 is a earth-shattering shift in how in Disney movies. It
I
just
don't even.
is.
I don't even know how we got on this from Dana and psych nursing, but
I'm just saying, Frozen 1 is
That is the
legit.
beauty
I
of
thought
this
it was the
podcast.
black hole when they said "goddamn." I thought that was like it was like the first curse word in Disney movie.
It probably was. Black Hole was great, but Frozen 1 has the hero is the protagonist's sister. It's not the prince. It was like
well, that's
mind blowing.
That's interesting.
It was her sister. So the true love that she needed to find was within her own family. It was not a prince. It wasn't like someone
I
outside.
like that. Well, I heard Disney or Pixar did a movie called, and I really don't know how we got on this for this podcast.
I love it though. Why not?
But that's what we do.
That's what we do.
But I heard Pixar or somebody did a movie called Soul.
Oh, it's great.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I watched that with my boy a few months ago. Like,
And
I
maybe
I
it was,
heard
was that like 6 months ago or something like that?
Yeah,
something,
yeah. It just
something
got
like
yeah.
that. Yeah, but I heard it had serious implications for the right-wing political movement because it actually suggested in life and a soul prior to birth, which flies in the face of the pro-choice, pro-abortion side of politics.
I didn't catch it. I didn't interpret it that way when I saw it, but yes. So there's souls that exist before birth.
Right, and the whole point is to make sure that those souls are born into people.
Right-thinking Americans.
Well, another movie that got lost during the pandemic last year was Onward, which was another Pixar movie. Not the best movie ever.
Was that the one with the brothers?
Yeah.
They're like the mythical, there's some kind of, and I remember a bridge. They made a bridge with a tree or something, or some kind of tower. They had to get
live
over.
in like some sort of fantasy world, and their dad died, and
yeah. He was trying to get back to his dad to see his dad.
It's
right.
And it's in a future where these spiritual creatures kind of like eschew their spiritualness. They're not like, they may be able to be magic users, but they kind of like let that lie to kind of blend in. Again, not the best movie ever, but a good movie.
It was a good movie
to watch with your kids.
Okay, well, I've got a whole list of Pixar movies because I have not watched an animated movie since probably
Heavy Metal.
No, I have 4 sons. Come on, I was in it.
Right, Heavy Metal too.
No, I would say the Avengers Age of Ultron.
Wow, okay.
Whatever year that came out, my kids, I had cashed in my animated movies card based on the age and based on the fact that Marvel movies were coming out regularly.
And they were good.
So we have Disney Plus, and again, my daughter, she's going to be coming up on 6, and we watch the old cartoons from like the 30s on Disney Plus.
Yeah.
And I don't set it up like, hey, hon, this is like some old cartoon. You got like, I just play it. She totally loves it.
Wait, the 30s or the 60s?
The 30s.
Oh, wow.
30s and 40s on Disney Plus, like the old cartoon.
You mean like Mickey Mouse?
No, pre-Mickey Mouse, like Goddess of Spring. If you've never seen Goddess of Spring or The Old Mill, those are gorgeous cartoons, like from the 30s. But to her, they're brand new. They might as well have been made yesterday. They're not dated.
Well, yeah, totally.
And they're gorgeous. They're amazing.
Well, look, on a serious topic, no offense to cartoon people. I just want to send a shout out one more time to Dana. I thought that
Dana.
I thought tonight was great, but
you gotta have her back. No,
I
there's a
see.
lot.
But I seriously think this, though. I think we really need to nail down on the calendar camping in Pennsylvania.
I'm with
I'll
you
talk to my
guys.
boy tomorrow.
Yeah,
See what we can
definitely.
do.
Well, I mean,
Um,
look, Dana and I are going to come in a car and we'll bring a tent.
So I've got this
Yeah.
camper. I've got 3 or 4 tents. Actually, no, I'm sorry. I had 2 or 4 tents. I've got plenty of camping equipment.
Well,
Like, if
between
you-
that and his camper, there's,
And we've got
if
a
everyone needs to
family
sleep
size
inside.
tent.
I got
Yeah.
air beds. We got extra sleeping bag.
All right. So
yeah.
are we talking?
One thing that we'll probably have to do is we'll probably have to chop down a couple of trees and make some logs or something as like payment for using his place. But that's a lot of fun.
Well, wait a
I'm gonna
minute. So,
smash trees.
so we're talking about with the kids.
Yeah,
Sure.
of course.
With the kids. Oh,
Why not?
Why not?
All right. Well,
Absolutely.
Kids.
We got to
Oh.
eat something.
Kids.
well, I'll see if I can get my 2 younger boys to come too. Otherwise, I'm going anyway.
Yeah, this could be fun. Do it for like a couple
I've-
days.
Zeus and I have camped before.
All right. Well, let's do it. But
We got fishing poles. So is there
Oh,
water around there?
Fishing. Fishing.
Fishing.
well, and now I don't know if there. I don't
Where are
think
we
there's
gonna
any
go?
fishing there.
where are we gonna go?
We'll figure that out. If you guys want to do it, I like Darcy's friend. Maybe there's a lake nearby, maybe not, or we won't do
Okay.
fishing. But
All right.
40 acres.
well-
There should be a pond somewhere.
Okay, well, I'm gonna leave it to Mike and Darcy to iron out a weekend. And
Yeah,
absolutely.
I say
I
we
got
go
like
for
3
it.
years worth of vacation, so I'm good.
I think this would be awesome, like a 3-night camping trip.
Yeah.
Just the
Yeah,
guy.
if you can already make 2 of the 3 nights, that's fine. But we'll
What
just
could
why?
go wrong?
No
If
wives?
it's-
Mhm.
No,
no wives
if
can
it's-
come.
No, if it's
Oh, no.
if it's Pennsylvania, New York, or Jersey, there's no reason why we won't come.
Kids and wives can come or not come. It's like totally up to you.
Yeah, whatever, just show up.
Just show up. We're gonna have a big bonfire,
However, it would be
Yeah,
freaking
that's the
awesome
one
if
thing,
it was
lots of
just
fire.
us.
lots
Yeah.
of fire.
Yes,
I'm with you. I'm with Zeus.
I'm with Zeus too.
We're gonna
Zeus
come
will
back with
bring-
bruises and abrasions.
Zeus will bring all the
Yeah,
all the
poison
weed.
ivy.
Alcohol
Zeus will bring the
poisoning.
weed.
Oh, gosh. Is it
Okay,
legal in Pennsylvania?
who cares?
I don't know. Zeus
I
doesn't
don't
care.
know.
He'll bring it.
I
Yeah,
can
it'll
bring
be-
my recurve bow that I've been dying to use.
All
I'll
right,
bring my
boys.
tincture.
Boys, are we signing off, Zeus? What are we doing?
Yeah, I guess we should because it's gonna take it takes a few minutes for this to download.
The render.
All right.
Good
Peace out,
episode, I
guys.
think. I think
Yeah.
it was very good. Dana was a
stuff.
treat.
All right,
Kept
guys.
us out of trouble.
Love
Yes,
you
we
guys.
did.
See you next week.
All right, see you,
Take it
Mike.
easy,
See you,
fellas.
Tom, Darcy.
Yeah, fellas.
Zeus.